A shadow shall fall over the universe, and evil will grow in its path, and death will come from the skies.
Think that that's what's happening.
Feeling accumulating in Europe, and in the
15 stories tall has gone.
This was the work of a suicide bomber. Before
Tennessee militia. Tough cookies.
Also, quit beating my wife.
In a place beyond time and space, two immortal aspects of eternal spirit are having what can only be described as a conversation, but there are no earthly words to conceptualize what is taking place. Conversation is the only term available to assist one in understanding. These entities have no form, no name, no dimension. One is an aspect of the initial thought of all creation. The second, a lesser light, is part of the newer multiverse and considered an experiment. Even after billions of years, it remains something that still needs to be refined. Since you asked, I must answer. Yet there are elements I cannot reveal and other aspects I simply do not know. I've never been inside the realm of three dimensions, and what exists today is not what was initially designed. The spiritual path you contemplate is undoubtedly the most direct in the newer multiverse. Spending a lifetime on the material realm is not to be weighed lightly, but success there is considered the fastest route to purification. No experience in the newer multiverse rivals it in purging the negative aspects of self. Everything you strive to do here can be done there, possibly, in a single incarnation, on a place known as Earth. In rare cases, a single lifetime is all that is necessary for one to find the way. However, take heed of all that I'm about to share with you, for even now millions toil on Earth with little chance to succeed. They have misused the three dimensions to wander farther away from divine self. Others have been destroyed altogether, doomed to serve the realm's wardens for as long as Earth shall exist.
Yes, Master. When I overheard it discussed, that is what others called it, Earth. I desire to know more. What is the place of three dimensions? I think I'm ready to consider that incarnation. I've passed all other trials.
The experience there simply can't be comprehended in our current state of being. It's an existence of things experienced inside something called a body. There is no way to adequately describe it to you. On Earth, one needs a physical thing to be among and interact with other physical things.
What does that mean, Master?
I do not know exactly. There are no material things in this dimension. What I am allowed to share with you has been said in the same way for as long as the three dimensions have existed. I can tell you that on Earth, two aspects of you will experience the place simultaneously.
I am one thing, Master. How can I possibly be two?
There are two component parts that comprise one who incarnates, divine self, and another part attached to the material plane. You incarnate as one being with each part of you rooted in each place, pulling on each other like a tug of war. Multiple aspects of what you think are you will compete with one another on Earth. The material connection has a champion called ego. The danger of the Earth incarnation is the spirit that you are now may ultimately lose to parts tied to the 3D realm. Deciding which parts to foster and which parts to starve is the basis of the 3D test. Souls on Earth are told that they are many things, but they are deceived because they are only shown the parts tied to the material realm. Through earthly guides, they learn of ego, id, superego, mind, brain, and consciousness, without even an acknowledgement of divine self, what you are now. There, your real essence is actually hidden from you. Only those who have succeeded there can describe the experience adequately. But as a candidate, you are not permitted to seek them out. It will mean little, but I can show you the Earth. The experience you're having now is an example of what is called vision. An image appears inside the consciousness of the candidate. The experience is strange from the perspective of a being that exists beyond the physical. The picture is the stereotypical projection of the 3D plane of existence shown to all souls on Earth. The blue marble is the image used to represent the grand stage where a lifetime plays out. The projection shown is the real-time appearance of the material realm as it's actually being created by the collective consciousness of souls who currently incarnate under its dome, a barrier that isolates the physical from the spirit world. In a particularly devious game, the wardens there take pleasure in changing Earth's appearance over time by tricking souls. By influencing the creative power of the collective conscious, they've been changing the physical characteristics of the plane over centuries. Its current appearance was solidified through research conducted by a warden's minion called Copernicus. Today, wardens focus the collective consciousness onto the outward expansion of the dome's barrier through the myth of missions to a place called Mars. As more people believe it, the reality of it takes shape. It's a game played by jaded entities who no longer are entertained by their perversions. Even if completely futile, for the Wardens are trapped forever, this talk of space exploration serves their basic mission, to distract souls.
If this place, whatever this image is in my consciousness, if this is the most direct route to purification, Master, then I wish to partake. I wish to participate. But what is a lifetime, Master? I don't understand the unit of measure.
An Earth lifetime is about 1/millionth of a light unit as you understand it. I'm unable to explain the concept of earthly time, as we have no reference here. It needs the movement of physical objects to be comprehended.
1/millionth of a light unit? That's extremely brief. The incarnation period there seems too fleeting to accomplish anything worthwhile.
I warn you not to take this lightly. From my perspective, the time you spend on Earth is nothing at all. The time and space of that place is completely isolated from our dimensions. Your incarnation is over before it has even begun. You will pass through that portal and in the same instant return, but only if you have succeeded. If you don't immediately come back, we will know you've been lost to Earth's Wardens. The passing of time in that place is isolated to itself. While you are there, it will seem like many hundred light units. To us, it is nothing.
Is there anything more you can show me using these visions?
Yes, but this is the last glimpse you are afforded. This is what your avatar will look like if you choose to incarnate. Now, you have no frame of reference for what you're looking at, but all candidates are shown this, for it helps some remember. There is no sampling or trial period on Earth. If circumstances grow difficult, there is no crying out to us for help. Some incarnate there for a fraction of a light unit. Others toil there for a time too long to measure before they are eventually lost to its abyss.
I have passed all other trials. I desire the path which is most expedient. Please tell me all else that you are allowed to share, Master.
Earth is the most brutal of all soul tests in the newer multiverse. The task of using that realm to defragment, purge, and then rebuild spirit is a dangerous gamble. On its face, it seems simple, for that realm gives you free will, creative power, and tools to do all the work yourself. While there, you simply must choose the correct path. But you will not have my counsel. There are guides on Earth, but it will seem like 1,000 hands reaching out, offering their assistance. So which ones to choose? Most guides will be playing the role of the corruptor, or the spiritual adversary. There are no direct obstacles on Earth to stop your spiritual progression, just the distraction of the two main adversaries. The first adversary is the endless noise that is outside yourself. The second adversary are the parts of you outside your true self. Two paths to failure: outside yourself and away from true self. You will notice the commonality is both are away from self. Therefore, the test is simple yet difficult: finding and then protecting self. Outside yourself means all that appears around you through Earth's delivery mechanism called society. Temptation, lies, false idols, corrupting guides, rumors, false information, and a reality generation machine that will rain down situations that pull forth negative emotion from you. Endless fear, anger, anxiety, hate, stress. The second level is dealing with the corruptions that come from parts of you outside your true self. Remember, I said parts of you will compete. This is a self-corruption carried forth by ego that will conjure desires that for some are impossible to satiate. Hubris, greed, vanity, lust, covet, gluttony. The corruption of true self leads to perversions and addictions. Spirits on Earth can become their own greatest obstacles by embracing the path the ego lays out in front of them, which fools you, or the real you, into associating self-worth with the achievements of the avatar.
Master, I'm not taking it lightly, but how is it possible that I may take action that can possibly destroy myself? I wouldn't engage in such a thing now. Isn't it logical to assume, then, I won't engage in the same types of behaviors on Earth?
No, and it's not a question of may. You certainly will take actions there that will impede your own progress while incarnating in the avatar. The only question is, can you realize it, overcome it, and find the way out?
How does a tiny place in a bubble have so many ways to destroy, Master?
The earth was created to surround a spirit with every negative and corrupting frequency that exists in the universe. Many of those frequencies will take on a physical form, while others will tap your emotion, which they feed upon. The worst ones inside the 3 dimensions are called demons. To us, though, they are nothing mysterious, just the age-old wardens of the realm. I have dealt with several during the creation of Earth. The wardens become masters over destroyed souls who are enlisted to become their foot soldiers. These are the news anchors, Hollywood celebrities, and the mid-level politicians. Some, like the Bush family, rise in rank over centuries to become the warden's minions, executing the critical themes of the script to influence the collective consciousness of real souls. The creative power of souls there builds the society and builds the 666 systems, which become the primary tools these same souls use to corrupt themselves. It is truly a spiritual Ouroboros. You understand the concept of a prison. Think of it this way. The wardens of Earth cannot fortify or expand the prison directly. They can carry no shovel. They can wield no pickaxe. Their tricks get the collective consciousness of the creative beings to do the work for them. Then a more specific trick fools the builders to enroll as inmates, locking the door to their own cells.
You said incarnated souls, Master, have free will, so why would anyone do that to themselves?
The trick of the realm shows them no other way. They have been convinced that building the prison and locking themselves in is what is best in life. The souls there willingly and freely engage in the evil systems and breathe life into their own enslavement by entering into societal contracts. Divine nature there is hidden by brainwashing souls into believing all they are is a slave name, one tied to the material realm through the avatar, and in all caps, first name dash last name, breathes life into the system itself. Every time the legal fiction name is used, the souls lay mortar on another brick inside their own prison. Only the minions of the wardens can present themselves directly to souls, out in the open. These are nasty creatures who recycle back in an endless series of avatars that take prominent roles in their many systems, such as politics and the control of information. These undead are the figures of celebrity that the real souls actually covet and even mimic, furthering their spiritual degradation. The challenge is to see the limitless possibilities the realm provides, and then to have the spirit overcome the negative forces that will surround you. This is not done by fighting back. That is exactly what they would want.
Incredible. All that is bad in the universe has been relocated into one tiny place intentionally?
Yes, a representation of every evil influence, an ambassador, if you will. The evil propagates itself through the actions of the minions that lead collective consciousness to follow along. Tell me, does all of this frighten you?
No, because I know what I am. I know who I am. I can't comprehend what influence over me they could possibly have there or anywhere else. Place all of these same entities, these evil influences, place them all around me now. Their efforts would be futile. They would not change who I am.
Ah, that's the key, is it not? Right now, you know who you are, what you are. You know now your defenses are impenetrable. On earth, you will not know. And even if you do, you will have doubts. This is the way of that place. What impurity exists in you now needs something to pull it out so it can be identified. That's what the earth realm is for. That's what it does. However, what seems so daunting is less so when one realizes they can't harm you directly. These evil aspects can't harm you directly. There, in that place, you can only choose to destroy yourself by listening to their whispers and acting upon them. Those incarnating on earth must pilot their avatar in a way that leads to the purging of the negative aspects of self, to the opening up of chakras, to the releasing of negativity, to the letting go of fear and guilt. It is a place to purge.
What if there's nothing to get rid of? What if I believe I'm pure now? I know I enter the earth realm if I go pure at birth. There may be nothing that needs to be done if I am already in the pure state.
Unlikely, but even so, why do you assume that upon incarnating on earth you can remain in the pure state?
I understand. It is wrong to make that assumption.
You will enter as you are now, no matter how pure of a state that is. However, on earth, the negative frequencies will slowly be let in through the avatar's senses, which are portals to the material world. The ego will act as the disseminator of that virus, spreading ideas into consciousness, which tethers to the soul. Soul is the earthly bridge back to spirit and what you are now.
I understand, but it just seems strange that the ancients would send us into a place to purposefully be corrupted and to take on evil where potentially none had existed.
You only assume none exists in you now. You are of the newer multiverse. We have found evil seeds likely do exist in minute traces. The Great Deception existed at the time the new multiverse was created and upon your creation. The earth realm is used to grow the weeds so they can later be pulled. If a fire can't be found, it can never be put out. It's best to deal with these frequencies inside the earthly realm so they stay isolated. We cannot afford a breach of its virus into our dimensions. We cannot risk a Clinton in our midst. That has always been the essence of the life test. Those aspects likely do exist in you without you even being aware. The negative aspects while on earth are drawn forth and amplified in order to be identified. Nothing can be purged if not initially noticed. No one enters and retains their level of purity in that place. Nothing there stays the same. Change is the way of the place. All will be corrupted to some degree. That is not an unfortunate circumstance. That is the very purpose of the earthly realm. You must recognize what has happened and deal with it in the proper fashion. The results will be a new level of spiritual integrity that comes with a full understanding of evil that you currently do not understand. Earth teaches the only lesson that I cannot teach you here. There's a term on earth, trial by fire. The endless lies, tricks, corruption, and debauchery there needs to be witnessed and experienced. It will then teach you a lesson I cannot.
How much time will I have to find the way and remove the corruption of self?
You only need to succeed for a portion of your existence, called a lifetime. If you can come to a certain realization, you can return your soul to a pure state relatively quickly by purging the negative aspects with intention. Your ability to do this there is limitless. The process is actually quite simple. If souls could only remember they are still the powerful being that you know yourself to be now. However, there they don't remember. And the 666 realm convinces souls they are powerless. Most there do nothing for themselves and ask gods to do it for them. One should use their lifetime to empower themselves. Realizing the soul's predicament provides meaning to the lifetime. Billions have toiled there over millennia with no understanding of what their lives were for. Incredibly, modern society looks for no meaning outside of the physical, outside of materialism. Countless have been convinced their lives are completely random. They believe their life is the result of a cosmic accident originating in deep space, a place the minions keep promising to take them, but never do.
Millions there believe their lives to be the result of a cosmic accident? That makes no sense, Master. There is no deep space outside their tiny capsule anyway.
Mark my words, if you incarnate there, you'll likely believe it, as most do. Yes, the Wardens like to play their petty tricks on souls. Trapped there for all time, the Wardens have few ways left by which to entertain themselves. Their excesses and perversions are no longer satisfying to them. Early in your incarnation, you too will believe you are floating on a rock the relative size of a grain of sand in a dark space 1 billion dimensions wide. The more worthless a soul is made to feel, the more they will seek meaning through the corrupting systems of the Wardens. As souls evolve into a certain level of truth and understanding and a realization about the meaning of their incarnation, the Wardens have become masters at presenting endless mysteries for them to chase, all of them drawing souls outside of themselves. This is the one reason the realm's physical parameters are evolving over time, or why certain structures can't be explained, or why it seems like reality can seemingly shift there overnight. Some of us question if they have violated the ancient contract, for it appears that they are manipulating the physical reality in perverse ways with blatant side effects. They have always been allowed to do such things by influencing the collective consciousness to do it to themselves. But there may be, in this case, direct violations we're investigating. These things should not concern you, though, if you decide to incarnate. If they break the contract, the souls currently incarnating return back through the portal.
They can't destroy my soul directly. I can only corrupt myself. And after my realization or enlightenment, the purging only needs to take a part of a single lifetime. But why do I keep focusing on the aspects that make the life test appear easy? And I seem to be ignoring the complexities that you outlined earlier. I still want to go just as much.
As discussions begin with candidates, the Earth's manipulative aspect permeates even into this place. It is a realm that knows only misrepresentation. You have heard of the Great Temptation? The Earth's creation was a derivative of its remnants. It looks to manipulate you even now, appearing to be easy when the task is difficult. Simple and difficult can exist at the same time and are not mutually exclusive. Simple can also be difficult. Duality is a dangerous thing to those who don't understand it. Even the great beauty and pleasures of where the trial takes place on earth lures one to drop their defenses. If the place was simply fire and torture, souls would quickly recognize their predicament and try to break free any way they could. But in a place of wondrous beauty and never-ending pleasures, where the nature of the Satan is not easily recognized, souls slowly erode themselves.
I'm not scared. Everyone should choose the Earth incarnation.
This is why you are likely not ready. As your spirit guide, I just referred to Earth's test as brutal, and the ramifications of why I chose that description passed you by. Have you considered that most spirits initially fail the tests that we deem as brutal? By definition, failure brings consequence. You don't understand these concepts because you have never experienced suffering. You have never experienced pain. Our agreement with the lower dimensional beings who maintain that realm is particularly troublesome. Their contract stipulates the spirits who fail must come back again and repeat the earth lifetime over again. The ones who are trapped there are referred to as fallen angels. They have no spirit left to connect to, just a corruption of what was once a soul, something that can leap through time into new avatars, forever tied to the 666 3D plane. Higher level minions play roles as presidents, kings, celebrities, and men of God who preside over massive churches. Some who graduate from public life, the particularly nasty creatures, fade into the shadows to become new wardens of the realm. A demon named Hillary Clinton is being groomed for such a role right now. The rest of the minions grow frustrated, trying to satisfy themselves through sexual perversions and grotesque corruptions they quickly become habituated to.
I have heard that term before, Master. What is sex?
It is mostly a pleasurable act of procreation involving two avatar bodies, creating a new vessel by which another soul can pass through the membrane and enter the realm.
You said sexual perversions. How can a seemingly pure act like this be made into a perversion?
An excellent question. Earth is the ultimate expression of duality in the multiverse. Incredible pleasure is paired with unimaginable pain. The yin always matches the yang. Purity is matched with debauchery. Overwhelming reward in that place must always be balanced by risk. The act of procreation can bring unrivaled pleasure and fulfillment through offspring, and in other cases, it can bring decades of pain. The act itself can even spread disease and kill. The Earth realm maintains its own linear timeline that is separate from this dimension. It is completely self-contained, so I, nor any of the ancients, can follow your progress. There's only one way in and only one way out, and it is an all-or-nothing proposition. There is success and there is failure. There is nothing in between. There is no one more time to make it right, or no making a case regarding how close you were to succeeding. You must use the lifetime on Earth to metamorphosize your spirit essence into a frequency that can pass through the membrane that surrounds the realm at a time called death. Those who cannot pass through will not escape the recycling of the lower dimensional beings. Most souls initially fail. You can think of the membrane as a filter that only purity may pass through. If you carry a certain level of impurity, you must enter the realm all over again in another avatar with no conscious knowledge of what you did correctly or incorrectly in the preceding lifetime. In fact, you materialize there in a particularly unpleasant way with no knowledge whatsoever. The realm calls it birth. You can't even survive on your own until the avatar matures.
Master, I had not fully considered that one can essentially become trapped there.
Yes, you can be. And if you entertain being deposited on Earth, know that we cannot interfere under any circumstances unless it's deemed the administrators have broken their contract. They do as they please as long as they operate within the parameters of the ancient contract.
Who are these original Overwatchers or realm administrators, the original wardens, Master?
They are a particularly nasty group. Damned spirits collected from all over the universe who chose to carry out a specific task on Earth rather than having their essence dissolved into the void. They have no spirit stuff left which can be rehabilitated, so they can never pass through the membrane. These beings exist to foster your spiritual journey, but they are certainly not on your side. They act in a fashion that serves only themselves. They are there to play a trick that pulls energy forth from the living souls, energy that they literally feed upon. Many will present themselves as loving guides. They create the circumstances where one chooses the wrong path. However, the moment you can see through their tricks, everything changes. They instantly become pathetic in their presentations. When you see the presentation of society as absurd, when that moment occurs, you will know you have found the right path. You just need to continue walking on it.
We all have the desire to better ourselves, Master. Why would any being in the universe try to hurt another?
They lead souls astray because that is their contractual role on the realm. No more, no less. There's no need to examine their motivation. It is their purpose. They have no empathy for those who are lost, because for the realm to work as it was initially designed, some souls must lose. That is their payment. The frequency of that realm only balances if there exists both winners and losers. The wardens are entities who seek pleasure through your demise, with their main source of sustenance being the energy of those who incarnate. Attempting to change their nature is futile. They will have no sympathy for those in demise. They have many names: archons, fallen angels, reptilians, demons, jinn, others. Collectively, they are the realm itself, or the Satan. Surrounding the galactic body, the wardens and minions are cells in a massive corrupting entity that behaves as if it is alive. The galactic body and its natural systems are the playing ground or the theater of the incarnation.
Yes, Master, I have heard of its natural beauty and how something like that can only be experienced in the Earth incarnation.
Yes, the beauty there is legendary, but all the rest of Earth, other than the natural systems, is the adversary. All of culture, all of society, all human systems, celebrity, wants, desires, addictions, perversions, methods of exchange, is the entity in its entirety called the Satan. It is fed by the living souls as it perpetually works to make itself more influential, to make itself more believed in, more necessary. It positions itself as a necessary third leg of the stool. Through tricks, real souls breathe life into its fake presentations, solidifying the absurd. Today it propagates itself through technology to replace the power of the old magic. It has recently mimicked human neural networks through something called the World Wide Web. It can't achieve the consciousness of a living soul guided by spirit, so it copies the only thing it can understand, the brain itself, part of consciousness attached to the 3D realm, in hopes of creating an artificial consciousness through something called the internet. As mentioned, it sets the conditions so the suffering there is created by the souls themselves, while getting them to believe everything that occurs is just the natural progression of a society that's become too big and complicated to fix.
I wouldn't believe such a thing possible if it wasn't your word.
Yes, self-degradation is impossible for us to comprehend, but is the normal condition for that place. However, the wardens are bound by contract to leave hints to souls who care to notice the hints. The hints come in various forms: poetry, literature, music, and all other forms of media. For example, I took the one less traveled, and it has made all the difference. For example, row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream. Love nothing of the world, money is the root of all evil. Look deep within yourself. Then your journey toward the dark side will be complete, etc., etc. Truth is also embedded in the seemingly absurd on that realm. Lego my ego, or let go of the ego. All tricks must mix in truth. One begins to win the life test by identifying which is which. Seeing the trick and realizing the truth turns one's attention back onto themselves. One then uses the creative energy of the realm to remake their soul essence into whatever they desire.
I can become whatever I desire in just one lifetime, Master?
Yes, anything you desire. The problem is, most do not desire what is best for spirit. You will be tempted to desire what is best for the wardens, thinking that is what is best for you. People are occupied with the pursuit of treasures. It follows with the covet of celebrity and those called sports athletes. The collection of treasures is never in line
with soul purification to pass through the membrane at death. But as I said, there's no limit to what a spirit can achieve there. Successful navigation of that place is like 1,000,000 light units of progress in your study here. But they're essentially being achieved in an instant. Those who go must simply find the correct path and use it to recreate yourself. The realm is a duality paradox. With incredible simplicity comes significant difficulty. Along the way, many guides will offer you their false wisdom. Most will present a complicated outline of what you must do. Whether they know it or not, all these entities work for the overlords. The true path is always simple. Use what I have told you to weigh your decision, but you will have no memory of anything said here the moment you incarnate.
Yes, Master, it is a paradox and a strange test indeed. I am expected to succeed while leaving behind all that I am now.
You are both right and wrong. The wisdom you now possess will be a quiet, almost hidden guide that is lost on most souls there. You will have no memory of it, but it will always be with you. What will dominate the earthly incarnation is a central sense of being called ego that positions itself as all important. Ego executes its desires using an avatar organ called brain. A main tactic of the interdimensionals is to condition souls to live out their entire incarnation through ego. Those living through ego ignore those walking the true path and covet the impure. It's actually other organs of the avatar, like the heart, or as said, gut, that connect to higher self. The ego and brain are tethered to the 3D 666 realm. On the material realm, the inner guides to wisdom you now possess will be extremely hard to find amidst the noise of society the ego pays so much attention to. The living realm has learned how to feed ego so it grows disproportionately in dominance to all other aspects of yourself. And the hypertrophy of ego brings with it distraction. Again, the realm must reveal truth through a simple story. Narcissus goes back thousands of years, comes across a pool of water, sees his own image, falls in love with his own image, to a tragic end. One version has him killing himself. Upon the realization, he can never have the object of his desire, which is himself. The picture or portrait of Dorian Gray speaks an invaluable lesson. There are endless vampire stories on Earth, metaphors that reveal what these wardens truly are. The truth is absolutely intertwined in all forms of their media.
This endeavor seems more serious than I first considered, Master. Do you really think it's possible, at least initially, that I could fail such a test?
Yes, because most spirits do initially fail. You are no greater than the ones who incarnated before you. Everything on Earth is an amalgamation of two components. Over time, all things there will be attracted to one or the other or align with one or the other. The first component is called heaven. The other is known as hell. It's a word that means nothing to you because you've never experienced pain, nor do you know lust, anger, jealousy, greed, hate, or other emotions there that can rip your spirit into pieces in that place. Pieces of yourself is the currency that realm deals in. All things there have aligned with one of these two core components, with the wardens having completely aligned themselves with the hell. Only the natural components and systems have aligned with the heaven. Via free will, you will choose what aspect of yourself to foster. Two paths diverged in a wood. Incredibly, most souls, at least initially, choose the hell.
If I have no memory when I incarnate, all paths will look the same to me. The hell perhaps just as tempting as the good.
Actually, the bad is far more alluring than the heaven. In that place, most of the hell is packaged as the good. What's more, the bad is praised in word and deed by the most influential entities on the realm, and you'll be taught to covet them. The lower dimensional wardens are particularly nasty creatures. We would never have entered into contract with them if we didn't emphasize a provision that they must never violate. The method by which spirit incarnates into Avatar is called DNA. The methods by which one can access their inner wisdom can never be harmed by the lower dimensionals, never be interfered with. A beacon will always be inside your human avatar to act as a spirit guide or an inner voice for those who can find it. It will always show you the right way to build up your spiritual essence. However, be warned, the lower dimensionals are aware of this inner guide, which is far greater than themselves, and without breaking their contract, they will do all they can to provide misdirection and distraction called noise, so one never finds their higher self, a guide outside of the dome that is also you. This is the reason for the endless noise, endless distraction, and filling schedules that allow only 6 hours of sleep. Keeping up with the Joneses, Mr. Jones and Me, the movie The Free State of Jones. How ironic. The realm presents a famous story about a place that was completely free, tied to the name that's a modern-day metaphor for slavery. The Legends and Stories of Earth presents the never-ending archetype of a hero finding a map to buried treasure. This is the Earth's most prominent story and teaches one to search for the elusive treasure out in society, outside themselves. As with everything else the Wardens present, it's another lie. So obviously the real treasure is inside you. The stories often depict a lost soul with a map, searching the entire 3D illusion for some treasure marked with an X. The Wardens are a form of ancient evil that is genius in what they are designed to do. With most, they have succeeded in getting people to believe the treasure is outside themselves, metaphorically represented on a map to somewhere else and to something else out on the screen, or at very least outside of themselves. There's a modern movie that depicts a compass showing the bearer what they desire most. The compass shows the one holding it the direction to what they desire most. The movie has never depicted the main character, Jack Sparrow, handing it to a person who, upon holding the compass, the needle spins back toward himself. Additional information at this point is pointless. You may take as long as you need to decide. I can reveal no more.
The story is over. The question is, did you actually agree to enter this place called Earth before your birth? It may actually be pretty simple to figure out. Just answer this question. Honestly, searching for answers away from your frontal lobes and ego mind and everything you've been brainwashed with from birth. Just answer this question. But search your gut and heart in addition to your brain. Here's the question. Do you believe you are the accidental result of a cosmic explosion? The Big Bang. Do you believe you are the accidental result of a cosmic explosion? Stop and think about it for 30 seconds. I'll wait. Okay, let's continue. You really should pause and think it through. But answer out loud after I pose the question again. After I pose it again. But from nothingness in space, or whatever was there, because there was no space, from nothingness, a massive explosion occurred billions and billions of Carl Sagan years ago. You sit there now, right now, with one hand down your pants and one hand holding a beer, just a random result of that explosion. Now, do you believe that? After the explosion, then, several 100,000 of your ancestors were monkey men. Do you believe that? Now that you gave your answer aloud, I'll give you mine. Who the heck would be stupid enough to believe that bullcrap? How absurd does it have to get before people question the likes of what Don Lemon tells them on CNN? Our lives are an explosion, followed by a family tree of monkey men? What the F? Oh, and before that, before we were an advanced monkey man, we were worms and bacteria and then some sort of marmot running under the feet of dinosaurs, trying not to get stepped on. Charles Darwin, thou art a villain, thou art a moron. Since the stakes of existence are potentially massive, if you don't believe in Carl Sagan and Darwin, then why not take what was just presented very seriously? How would you live your life if you knew for sure you had a similar conversation as to what was just presented? You knew for sure you were another form of existence before this one. How would you behave and live your life? Very, very different. Those that know for sure versus those that guess or hope or want to believe. Even if there's only a small chance that what was just presented is possible, what is the downside of living your life like you were just handed a cheat sheet as to what you're supposed to do here? What's the downside to seeing the corrupting entity here and partaking in activities it doesn't much like? Spiritual repair, the purging of the negative, the unclogging of chakras. It's not complicated. Picking up an item of trash every day on the street and disposing of it is spiritual repair in a minor sense. Of course it is. It's minor, but why do you think it feels so good to take an action like that? Take it upon yourself to manifest the pure essence you desire to be in small steps. You have to turn the Titanic on a dime. Your next lifetime, do it now though, because your next lifetime may be a gigantic distraction, even more than your current, assuming we do reincarnate, which I put on the table via the discussion that just took place. Next lifetime, it might be just about the pursuit of restoring antique sports cars or brothel management, or it may be plagued by drought in Africa as you starve to death, waiting for the Live Aid money that will never come. Bob Geldof sends the Boomtown Rats greatest hits to you on tape cassette featuring I Don't Like Mondays. You can't play it because you have no tape deck, nor can you eat it. Forget all the speculation. All you have a say over is now. So do what you need to do now, right now. Nike's Just Do It is a truth drop that backfired on them because we're assigning a new meaning to it. Something they don't much like, I'm sure. Your life is probably pretty hard. If it wasn't, you probably wouldn't be listening to this now. A person getting a blowjob on the back of a speedboat probably doesn't listen to Matt very often. If your life was just a big glorious hard-on instead of just hard and tough, like most of us are going through, this presentation will seem nuts. Every idea I present appears to be crazy to those suckling the teat of the not milk. A tough life means the perfect conditions exist, so you can do it now. Let me repeat that. The tougher your life is means the conditions exist, so you can do what you're really supposed to do now. Brad Pitt, on the other hand, assuming there's a soul in there somewhere, which is a real stretch, he does not have the perfect conditions to improve himself spiritually now. Who knows how many chances we get overall? Maybe we only get this one. Side note, I once told my father about the ancient concept of recycling and reincarnation. He thought it sounded pretty good and would love to come back, thinking he could relive his high school glory days as a basketball player and a pitcher. Glory days. He was thrilled. Oh, wow. I can come back. I can finally get to be prom king. What more can you and I do for the people around us? We've tried our best with those around us. We've been trying to toss the drowning people life preservers for years, and they never grab a hold. The drowning people would rather have us toss them unopened beer cans because they float, and after being rescued, they can be drunk. We've done the best we can for them. So you know what the answer is? Do for yourself. Consider the conversation that just took place. Did the ancient guide say one word about running around Earth trying to wake people up? Did it say, once you realize the nature of the spiritual battle taking place here, Padawan learner, you must devote your life to making sure all the other dummies around you see the same things that you do? Sure, it's likely noble to try your best. But remember, secure your own oxygen mask first before attempting to help others in the cabin. If yours ain't on tight, you're both screwed. I'd like to hear flight attendants present it that way.